We've got Winnebago County Sheriff Gary Caruana with us.
How you doing, Sheriff?
Good. I'm doing great. How you doing?
I don't know why I said it like that. I figured I'd just start things off on an awkward note.
Oh,
we're glad you called in. We're glad you're giving us a few minutes this morning because I think there's a lot of misconceptions. We're talking with Winnebago County Sheriff Gary Caruana. There's a lot of misconceptions, I believe, or misinterpretations of the Safety Act. So I wondered if maybe we could reach out to you to get some clarification on a few things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the biggest thing we're hearing from people is that, well, come January 1st, nobody's getting arrested for these 11 crimes that are listed. Is that true?
No, that is not true. They will get arrested, but there will not be. There's a no bail situation, so they have to go in front of a judge within 24 to 48 hours, and then they'll be released. Now, there's a matrix that the judge uses now to, check out and say, hey, is this person past, present, what the crime is, and focus on, should we detain him and set a bond, or should we set him free? This and some of these subsets of crimes, they could be released, and again, violent criminals, as far as I'm concerned, if you read these crimes, can be released back. They'll be given a court date. But here's the situation that I'm very concerned of, and I don't have the staffing, is it will be issued basically a notice to appear, hey, here's your court date. Now, if they don't show, we have to go out, try to find them, issue them kind of a notice to appear saying, hey, look, you missed your court date the first time. Then if they miss it a second time, then the warrant is issued. It's just very burdensome on the judicial system and law enforcement.
So it's kind of like they're trying to maybe make corrections, but they're going way overboard and not maybe thinking entirely true of the effect that's going to have on you and your officers and your department as far as manpower.
Well, yeah, very true. But it's just not, it's just the whole system, the whole criminal justice system, from the state's attorney's office to the judges and then to law enforcement. It was I feel, 100% knee-jerk reaction back in, almost 2 years now, during the summer of 2020 when the defund the police and the George Floyd situation was occurring and stuff. I think it was a knee-jerk reaction on the state legislators in Chicago, and all of a sudden we had this bill. And this bill was, it's House Bill 5693, I think. Right now, it's a Safety Act. Right now, I can't remember the bill number. But it basically says, hey, look, we're going to detain them for 24 to 48 hours. They have to be arraigned, and they'll be released. And it's very, very concerning because come January 1, I'm letting out roughly 400 inmates that should be detained.
Can you give us an idea what some of these inmates have been charged for, or the ones that are they falling outside of those 11 categories that was shared in that graphic by various media outlets?
Well, I can tell you the crimes that they've committed that they're eligible to, because right now we're putting again with the judges, with the state's attorney's office, the inmates that will be released. But I can read you the crimes, which are, it's aggravated battery, robbery, burglary, hate crimes, vehicular manslaughter, drug-induced homicide, drug offenses including trafficking and delivery of fentanyl, which is very concerning to me because we do the Narcan saves quite a bit. My deputies, I know Rockford does from Rockford Fire, intimidation, kidnapping, second-degree murder in some situations, aggravated fleeing and threat to public officials. So there's a problem here that we really, as a community, and what's concerning to me is this happened almost 2 years ago in Lame Duck scenario down in Springfield, and people are just finding out about it now. And it's like, just shows the fact that, hey, look, if we need to change some laws, great. Let's be more transparent from downstate to, the counties in Illinois to say, hey, look, let's get together and talk about this with the state's attorney's offices, with the judges, with law enforcement, say what's right and what's wrong about this. But if this wasn't, because of just the fact that people are finding out about this, it's shredded in secrecy, and all of a sudden people are like, what's going on here? This is new. No, it's not. And I've been, raising the roof about this. I'm very concerned. And what I'm saying is, hey, look, let's take a deep breath, push it out maybe 6 months, maybe another year, and let's evaluate and let's use our cerebral thoughts and not do an emotional decision here. And I think this is what's happening.
When you say release all these inmates, it's not that they won't ever, just be scot-free of the crime, right?
No, that's not the case. And we're still going to do good, ethical law enforcement, and a lot of law enforcement agencies are still going to do that. All law enforcement, not a lot, but all law enforcement agencies are going to continue the job. They're still going to be held accountable for their crimes. They just have that no bail situation that the judges, again, when they sentence and after they've been convicted, there are sentencing structures that they have to follow. And basically this is it, is they're not being sentenced, but there are certain matrix that they have to follow as far as detaining or not detaining and let out. And again, my concern is you're going to have a certain percentage, and I don't know what that percentage is, we'll find out, that are going to look at the court date and say, I don't have to appear, or there's going to be a couple notices that have to occur. And then another thing that's very concerning is they have to be in the state of Illinois. So if they're in another state, wherever that state there is, they're not held accountable to be then be brought back in, I guess, an extradition type of situation. So, I mean, there's some things here that we as law enforcement, the judicial system, need to talk with the legislators that put the bill together. Again, a knee-jerk reaction as far as I'm concerned. If you look at these crimes, it's like, hey, wait a minute. We really have to sit there and analyze what we're doing, because why these people are out, okay, and they could, let's take aggravated battery or robbery or intimidation or kidnapping or aggravated DUI or any of these. What says that they're going to follow the law? They're detained right now in this matrix that they're following currently to protect our families, our communities. They, for a reason, following the judge's ability to detain with bond, keeping our society safe. So what says that this person that is aggravating fleeing or intimidation or any of these crimes are not going to continue to go and do that? They're being held accountable because of the crime that they occurred. And they're saying, well, they shouldn't have a no bail. They should be released because it's fair. I have trouble wrapping my mind around that. I want to be fair. I want to be 100% fair. But if there's a crime committed and you're held accountable by a cash bond because you did an aggravated battery to somebody or an aggravated DUI or vehicular manslaughter, what says I'm not going to do that again? If I have a problem with alcoholism and I'm driving and I kill a family, well, while they're incarcerated, we have programs that we can give them, that we can hopefully cure them, rehabilitate them. When they're out, and I've seen this, when they're out, they go back to that. So what says that they're not going to have a situation that another family's not going to get, unfortunately, killed in a aggravated DUI situation? And this is what I think is a concern with a lot of law enforcement, the judicial and the state's attorney's office. What says they will not repeat this behavior? Nothing. While they're incarcerated, hopefully they're learning we have tablets up there, we have classes, we're trying to help them out so they don't go back and repeat. Well, while they're out, and I've seen this many times, they go back to the behavior that got them there. So, and then, again, they have two bites at the apple that they have to appear in court. So if they don't appear in court, and then we have to give them a notice to appear, say, hey, look, you didn't appear in court. Then we go back a second time they don't appear in court. Then the warrant is issued. But the caveat is we have to find them. There's a lot of unfunded mandates here that on the whole system, not just my system, but the whole system that's going to burden the community.
Do you think there's any chance there will be some revisions to this act before it actually goes in effect?
I'm hoping so. Just the fact that I'm on the radio, actually I'm releasing a video of my concerns out to media. And I know that Jay Hanley, the state's attorney, did that op-ed. And I know this is happening throughout the state to say, hey, look, time out. Let's take a breather here before we do something that is very, very dangerous to these people, these inmates, because, again, we're on the street. And, a Narcan situation, where we use that all the time. And we use, Narcan 2 or 3 times on people to bring them back, and unfortunately some of them pass away. And I think we have to analyze this, and this is not what happened. And just very concerning to me, because I watched the vote. I can't remember the exact date, but it's at least 2 years ago. It was a lame duck situation scenario at 5 o'clock in the morning. Bang, it's passed. The governor, about 5-6 weeks after that, signs it. It goes into law, and nobody really hears about it. I'm jumping up and down. I know the law enforcement and the sheriff's associations jumping up and down, trying to cause this awareness. Just shows you, and I talked to some of the authors of the bill, and they're saying, well, it was an open meetings. Well, every meeting that is a public is an Open Meetings Act, absolutely. But it wasn't brought to this height now that people are like, wait a minute, what's going on? That just tells you the fact that it was pushed through, and it was a knee-jerk, emotional decision. And we got to go back and say, look, give us 6 months, give us a year, and let's analyze this before we do something that can really hurt our community.